Hello.
There
Boom!
we go.
Oh my gosh, it only took 2 minutes and 18 seconds to figure that one out.
No, clean
Alright, as you guys
repairs.
can see, we are prepared for this. But we actually are, because we have a whiteboard, so that means we got something going.
Years of preparation.
Oh yeah,
for this.
years of preparation. My name is Really Bad Zed. Oh wait, no. My name is My Back is Sore, and that is Really Bad Zed. And here we go, the playoff predictions. So we don't know the actual seedings right now, but we pretty much know what's happening.
Yeah, we have an idea.
Yeah, we have an idea
Yeah.
of what's gonna happen. TTM has to play one more game to decide who's third and fourth, but we're just gonna predict the winner of that. So in the first round, we think TTM is going to be the fourth seed. Let me push it over a little bit. We think TTM is going to be the fourth seed, and we think. Oh wait, move over. Move over a little. Act like you like me. Come on. All right.
Yeah, good joke.
So yeah, we think TTM is going to end up fourth seed, and also how. So pretty much, we're just going to go over every team and just kind of say what we think about them, and yeah, just kind of speak our minds about it and predict who's going to win this year. So, what do you think about TTM?
TTM, well, I think they are their team. I have no idea who's on there, honestly.
Wow. You came prepared. Don't worry though, because we have I do, but I'll show you who's on the team. You can kind of get a better feel of what's happening here.
Okay.
So, To the Moon. Pretty cool name and pretty cool logo.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah.
I recognize this team. Okay. So Will is definitely a solid mid laner. I've played against him quite a few times. Why does it look like my eyes are like going over this way?
I don't
know. Okay.
Cancel Bradley.
Whatever, screw it.
Pros on it.
No, I know Will is a really solid mid laner. Can you pull up the team again? Because I only saw Will.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect.
There you go.
Sleepy Vi, always a solid top laner. Arch Lecter, good. Yeah, I'm just gonna say everyone's good on this team. So
Wow. These
it's
guys
a
first seed or
great
what?
team. No, honestly. And then How, I know Old Crow is in the mid lane. He's a super strong leader and always a good laner. I just played against him last week, and in game 2, I definitely got the business from him a little bit. And then they have some other people on their team that I don't know. But, I mean, they're definitely a strong team too, but I think I'm going to have to give this one to TTM.
Oh, shoot. And let's see if our lighting works. I don't know if it will, but if we go like this, is it too light?
Actually, I think the off is better.
Off is better.
Yeah.
Can you actually see the whiteboard?
Not at all.
Well then.
Yeah, maybe do the little light or whatever.
Well, wait. Is it because of this? How do you even do? Oh wait, this thing's broken. Okay. Well, I guess I think it's just the light from the computer actually.
Yeah.
So if we move it like.
Maybe if we move it up, yeah.
Or to the side or something.
Yeah, that's you can kind of see it.
That's better, but maybe just try a different color. Like, what does blue look like?
Oh, that's so much better.
Not really. All right, we're just gonna use it, and you guys can just imagine what it looks like. But we're gonna be saying everything out loud. Yeah. So, my take is. So, who is your pick?
TTM.
TTM is the pick.
How?
Oh wow. Okay, so in the first round, Bradley says TTM's gonna win. I think the exact opposite. So, kind of going over what I think about the teams is TTM. They're decent. I mean.
Wow, coming at them right now.
They're what? They're probably, according to our predictions. Well, I don't even know if you thought this was the prediction, but I think TTM's going to be the last seed. And why I say that, I just don't think they have any identity on their team. It's just like it feels to me like just a bunch of players playing together. Doesn't really seem like they have like their mid jungle is like really good, or like okay they play through the bot side or they play through the top side. It just seems like they're just, it's fine, but, if they do want to succeed, I think they need to find an identity. So I would say that. And I think where you can start with that identity is kind of, what, Bradley said. Nani is a super good player, so I think you start around there. But all their players are good, but they just don't have that strong identity going into the playoffs. So I think that puts them a little bit lower than, some of these other teams. And then on the right side, How is kind of like the exact opposite. They're kind of like heating up throughout the whole season. They've had, some roster changes, and but I think they kind of do have an identity now or more of an identity of when they first started.
Yeah, I could definitely tell that they were playing around Crow a lot because I got ganked quite a few times, which was really fun.
Yeah,
actually. And I can tell. I see what you're saying. I feel like I feel like TTM could do a similar thing where they kind of play around Will in mid lane,
right?
But they just kind of haven't worked up to that yet. So yeah. I see where you're going. I still just think that. I think TTM has a little bit stronger individual players, but I do think that their teamwork could definitely use some work. So
yeah, I agree. And so I think it's going to be a close one in the first round. I think it's going to go to 3 games, and I think How's going to win it. But I think that's just because of I don't know. And it's on the lower bracket it's one and done. So whoever loses, they're out. So TTM really need to use this extra week that we have to kind of play some practice games. I know it's not everyone's top priority, so I totally get it if you don't have time. But I think if they do get some practice games in and just kind of find what they want to do going into the playoffs, I think it could work out good for them. But they only because they're in that lower bracket, they only have one choice or one chance. So yeah, my first one's gonna go over to How.
All right, and the last thing I'll say about this is, if I was How, I think playing around Crow is a fine strategy. But I also think that they have Mind Static, who's a pretty solid AD carry. And I think Dragula's a good top laner too, but other than Wukong, he plays mostly tanks. So I think playing around bot lane more could be a good strategy for them, because I think if Mind Static gets rolling, he could definitely carry some games.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Yeah, I mean, they did pretty good against Alex and Derek in
and
yesterday.
Also another suggestion for How would be to start playing Lucian. I think you guys might play it some, but I know because your ADC plays a lot of enchanters. Your support plays a lot of enchanters, and right now Lucian's just so good, just in the meta, but also really good with enchanters. So kind of use that to your strength, and pick up Lucian for the playoffs. And I think just play it because it's a really strong pick, especially with enchanters like Crimson Rose's plays. And the second, we're gonna say IIG is gonna the second part of the lower bracket. AR is not playing anymore, which is sad because they are the champs, so it would have been nice to see them get taken down in the playoffs. But so IIG's gonna get a bye, and I think IIG's actually a pretty good team. I think they're just in a really good group. IOL's strong, GG's really strong, so it's there's not really much room to go in that group. So I think that's actually, I don't know. I think they could surprise some people.
Yeah, they're kind of in the group of death. There's a couple strong teams in there. I think IOL
is the strongest team. Strong team. The strong team, Group B, but yeah.
I don't know. They got a team called STD. They're literally AIDS, so
I know, AIDS to play against.
But
yeah, I think IIG has a lot of strong. I like their jungler a lot. I think he's pretty good CHP, and
yeah, I think CHP is really good.
Yeah, and I like his champ pool too. Pretty kind of similar to mine. So I think he can carry a game or a few, and also Diogenes. I don't know. The cat. He's really good too. I've only seen him a couple times has he played, but the times I have, he's actually really good. Let me go tell my dog to shut up. But on to the next one. So you continue, and it's gonna be GGG versus IQ, the top bracket.
GGG versus IQ. Okay, so I'm just gonna come right out and say, I think GGG is gonna win this game. They are, in my opinion, other than IOL, of course. I think they're the strongest team in the league. And so I'm going to predict this one for GGG. They just have all really strong laners. I can't remember, again, who's on the team because I don't know. It's on the teams. But, okay, here we go.
Didn't you just get 2-0'd by them?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Or 1-1.
No, we won 1-1. 1-1. Yeah, don't get too ahead of yourself there. But
yeah, they have a solid team.
So what's really scary about them is their flex potential is ridiculous.
So
they can swap Scoobs, Trooper, and Aloe around, and they're all really strong in their individual roles. Trooper can play Zed in pretty much any role, and he's probably going to end up playing Zed support at some point.
Probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Reese and Vermilion are one of the strongest bot lanes in the league for sure. And we all know Reese, whenever he gets going, he is really, really scary at AD carry. So I just think all around they have one of the strongest rosters as individual players in the entire league. So I would definitely be afraid to play against these guys. And IQ is definitely a strong team as well. I'm just going to pull this up too. And I think that IQ.
That's IQ.
Like, what they all look the
same.
Okay, yeah. Zesty is he's actually been exceeding my expectations
Yeah,
in
he's
jungle.
good in the jungle.
After switching from top lane. And Bonegrode is a very feaster-famine player in my opinion, just because of his play style. He's very aggressive and he plays carry top laners, which I like. Rihi, a really, really solid roaming mid laner. And Gentle Criminal and Sewer Noob X have looked pretty strong in the bot lane as well. The only reason I'm picking GG in this game is because I think they're such a strong team on their own, but I would definitely watch out for IQ. If there was one upset I could see happening, I would pick this game. So I think it could go either way, but I'm going to take GGG.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have a lot of good points, but I actually am going to go the opposite. I think IQ is going to upset GGG. I mean, I think it can go it's gonna go 3 games, I think, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Like, they just have a really they have a lot of you hit it right on the spot with Bonegrode. He is feast or famine, but I love how he plays. He's the most aggressive, one of the most aggressive top laners in the league. And he plays like Camille and just I don't know. He just has a fun. He just has a fun champion pool. And then Rihi, I mean, clearly is a god in the mid lane. Hasn't really played that carry role as much this season, though.
No, yeah, he's been a little more utility.
Kind of sat down from the carry, and so we'll see. I mean, if they do need to rely on it, they can always put Rihi on a carry and just let him freaking do what he does.
Oh, yeah, has a scary young.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think their bot lane has also been really good, surprisingly. I didn't, not surprisingly, because they didn't play last season.
We just didn't know who they were.
Right, but yeah, better than I thought they were going to be for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think IQ has a really good team, and I think it's going to be a really close series. I mean, it's hard to decide, but I do think, and I hope IQ does upset them, because Group B, baby, we're going all the way. I'll see you there, IQ, in the finals. And then GGG, really good team as well. I mean, Reese, really good ADC, probably the best ADC in the league. And then, I mean, Trooper's freaking flexing is just dumb. I think he just banned the Zed. I mean, I think that's all it is.
Yeah.
And it's not a big deal. Even if they're oh, Scoops is going, mid. It's it still doesn't matter.
They can switch it on.
Right. It's just I mean, good for them. I mean, it is a rule in the league, so if you can abuse something, abuse it. Do I agree with it? No, not at all. But I mean, look, it's there, and you can do whatever you want. So I mean, I think I would do it. And yeah, so I mean, that's a really deadly and honestly, that's kind of what's been carrying the team. I think their bot lane has been underperforming personally. I do think Reese is the best ADC in the league, but I think they have actually been underperforming this season. And I really don't think so last season you had AAR and they were just their bot lane was just by far and the way. They're just the most dominant lane in the whole entire league. It wasn't even close. But this year, no bot lane really strikes me as holy crap, we gotta be feared. Yeah, we gotta be feared. There's 3 or 4 that are kind of in that right in that same range, but nothing really is whoa. These guys are okay, I need to camp them because they're gonna get out of control. So honestly, I don't know. I think almost all the bans are gonna go towards the mid and jungle, just because that's the focus point of GGG. And Scoops has been playing extremely well this season as well. So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of where their power comes. And also another surprise that no one's really talking about, I feel, is Aloe. Aloe has been I mean, I've watched I think every single game this season, and he's throughout the season became 5 times better. He's playing really well. So I think you just leave him on an island. Maybe give him a gank or 2, but you don't have to focus a ton of resources on there and just let him do what he wants.
Yeah, and I never see him lose lane. He's very consistent.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he in the beginning of the season he was kind of but he was new to top lane, all that. So, but now that he's figured out, he's doing a lot better. So I think GGG. I mean, I think these two teams are both contenders for semifinals.
Certainly.
They're probably going to get into the semifinals. But I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that could be interesting to see what happens. And then, so here, let's draw a little bracket to start us off for the second round. I mean, we're not like there yet, but I guess I'll do it actually in a second. I don't know how. And then my second one is gonna be IQ. And then the final matchup, the juicy matchup, the one that me and this guy right here is in.
I don't even know if it's worth talking about, to be honest. I think everyone knows
it's
the way
pretty
it's
easy.
go.
I mean, the number one seed, the best team in the whole entire league, STD, is gonna just dumpster them.
IOL kind of was the number one seed up until like 2 weeks ago. We kind of been trolling around a little bit, but
group.
Yeah, we were trolling around a little bit.
You know who 2-0'd when they were under pressure? STD. We 2-0'd IQ to get number one seed.
Oh, yeah, that big.
However, we've been number one seed like the whole entire season, so it's whatever.
Sure. Keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a really good series.
Oh yeah, great series.
I mean, both teams have like crazy power in almost every lane. I guess we can go over your team first. I mean, what do you think your guys' strengths are?
I'll do that in a second, but I just want to point out, is it Puff Buffer, or is that which one Blake is? Or
Blake?
Yeah.
He's Puff, yeah.
Okay. Puff Buffer has been playing way better than I expected. Like, his jinx has been going off. And, like, he was one of probably the worst, probably the weakest AD carry, I would say. Like, in the league this year.
I wouldn't say it. Last year I would agree, but this year he's been...
No,
honestly, probably one of the top.
I would have expected him to be one of the worst.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
but he's actually been like one of like you said, like one of the best and most consistent. And he's been positive.
Let's look at these stats
game.
really quick.
Yeah,
maybe we were delusional, and he actually has like the worst stats ever.
Very possible.
I mean, I know his warding stats are like we always joke about it in our comms, but he actually has never bought a control word since like I think he like bought one week 8 or something.
Yeah,
but other than that, he's literally not one. Let's see. What is his stat? Control words bot. And then we do bot.
Oh, he's right there. He's tied for first.
He has bought 1. So my ADC has bought 1 control word the whole entire season. But you love to see it. I mean, it's
he's putting that gold into damage.
Oh yeah, no. So wait, let's take off subs and off roll, and then let's see what this gets to. So kills. Wait, what? What? Isn't it being like really weird? Oh, here we go. KDA or like what's? I mean, I don't know. Puff is he's actually pretty low, but I mean he's kind of on a hard team to get kills from because I play.
I mean, he also has played much better in the later part of the season, so he doesn't really take that into account.
But yeah, no, I would say like Puff is like then that's my brother, and he's been really, really just. I mean, like 2 weeks ago, I don't if you watch the game, me and him like usually, I was off to a good start, but then like our mid laner was having a rough game to say the least, and he picked up the weight and literally just like almost solo carried, so that was pretty crazy.
Perfect.
And then like another like kind of breaking news about our team is we won't have our support stuff buffer, which in my opinion it's kind of I don't know what to expect. Like no one on our team plays support, and the sub we're bringing in doesn't play support, so we're gonna have to make some adjustments. But we're gonna keep those hidden until playoffs. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what we do with that. I don't know if it's gonna hurt our team or help our team. Honestly, I don't think it's.
I mean, it's basically an auto win for us because it was already an auto win, and then your support left. So
I think you guys would have definitely gotten 2-0'd if our support stayed, but I don't know anymore.
Okay, now when we win, it's gonna be like if we had our support, then
I think it's gonna go 3 games personally, and I think I'm gonna put my
I wouldn't be surprised.
pick on the board. It's going to
IOL. Yeah, no.
It's not even a question. I mean,
it's not even a question.
I mean, I don't know.
God, dude.
But on the flip side, IOL, pretty good team all around. Ridiculously, I mean, let's talk about salary cap here for a second because I think they're breaking it. Their team is really strong ranked wise. And they don't really. I mean, at the beginning of the season they were gelling, but honestly, quite honest with you, they haven't been gelling recently. So I don't know. I think they're kind of weak going into the playoffs, to be honest. Kind of like on the opposite of GGG. Like GG is really gelling now. I think it's kind of the opposite for IOL. I think they're kind of ungelling, which is fine. We still have time until the playoffs to gel. But I think what really helps them personally is just like their individual skill. Like I think your guys' individual skill just kind of like pushes you to win some games just kind of automatically. But I mean, clearly you got the best mid laner right here in the league. I mean, he's gonna win every lane pretty much. So personally, I mean that's like something that, as a jungler to look at. But and then your guys' bot lane's pretty good. one of the better ones in the league, I would say. And then I mean, you just have solid players all around. Nothing like really like outstanding, except like I would say you in the mid lane. But everyone else is like very solid. So I think it just kind of like fills up the team.
No, definitely.
So I mean, I think you guys are going to be a really good contender, and I hope to see you guys in a finals, honestly, because I think that would be a really good match. But I think STD is going to take it.
Well, what I'm going to say is, I mean, first of all, I think I've been having a bit of an off season, to be honest. My team has definitely carried me in a couple of games. And I have been falling to some ganks. Oh, it's just my mom's on board, yeah. I'll call her back in a second. But, so, I definitely have had some off games, and I'm telling you, Mpex, Alex in the bot lane has been getting fed like every game. I mean, he got a pentakill on Vayne against How. You know, I kind of set him up for it, but you know, it is what it is. But I think we have one of the strongest bot lanes with Derek and Alex, and they've been kind of trying out some new stuff too that's been working out really, really well. So I'm excited to see what they bring into the game. I can't give away too much information, of course, but Amumu support is looking pretty strong for us. Because that champion is busted. It's so dumb, dude. You know, I feel like I've been playing a little bit more because there was a while when I just like wasn't playing V because I was really busy. But I've been playing a little bit more lately, and I feel like I've been progressively getting back to where I was. Dana has really surprised me on how much jungle presence she has. I mean, she
plays a fun like champion pool too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna play Sejuani.
I mean, Trevor's like discount Dana on Kha'Zix. And then,
they're gonna pick it or ban it every single game. Calling it right now.
Yeah, no, of course. And I mean, JoJo on set, Nico. You know, he can just play so much.
So busted.
See, Nico's
JWM plays the most busted champion ever. Set damage doesn't even make sense.
No, it's
Nico damage doesn't even make sense.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, he's honestly his champion pool is pretty scary.
And Lilia top lane.
Lilia is like I don't know.
He plays it pretty well.
I haven't seen him get like any like huge ults though, to be honest with you.
I mean, yeah, I can see
I don't think
that.
that's a bannable thing against you guys, but I do think like that set.
Well, there's a lot of stuff to ban. I mean, to be fair.
For sure, yeah, to a degree, but yeah, I mean, I think both JWM and Latrades have been playing really good.
Yeah, and so, and then, I mean, for y'all's team, I mean, of course, I think you're the best jungler in the league. I mean, it's just, sorry, Data, you've been doing great, like, honestly, but, I mean, look, I've played with Trevor for a long time, and I know he's a diamond player. He's one of the best players in the league that I've seen, and he's a really good jungler, so... I mean, he's going to have to carry, definitely, some games.
Wow. What is, like,
let
really...
me rephrase that. He's going to have to do very well.
I agree. But, like, what is, like, taking off the load of me this year is, like, Winnie. Kind of, like, the unspoken god of the league this year.
Winnie has played very consistently well.
Winnie is by far the best top laner in the league. I mean, it's not even a question. It's not even a question.
Bold claim.
I mean, will he... I mean, I believe he's going to be playing top lane, but if he's not, I mean, that's sad. But, yeah, I mean, Winnie's been... popping off the whole entire season.
I definitely agree.
I mean, he's had a couple bad games here and there.
Yeah, like when he played IOL in the first game of the season.
Right. It doesn't help when my team has played 3 months, but but yeah, no, I think Winnie's like really strong player. He just like knows what to do and when to be, and he's really good at TPing and just like being there for fights. And you know, he already like kind of knows what he should be doing. So I think it's a really strong addition to our team, and I think it just like takes off a lot of pressure off of me because it's like, oh shoot, I don't have to gank a lane like every like 2 seconds to try to get like someone ahead. So yeah, I mean, I think it allows me to play more, and I think that's why I've had like maybe even stronger season 2 than season 3.
Season 3.
Season 3 than season 2
for us, but season 3 in the league.
Season 3 than season 2 because I've just had a lot of opportunity to just like, okay, you can do whatever you want. So yeah. I think it's going to be fun, and also he takes off ban pressure as well, so it's cool. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I think I would call this the game of the playoff. I mean, like the best game of the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
But yeah, I mean, do you have to go, or do you want to fill out the rest of the playoff bracket?
Well, I'm gonna have to go like right now, actually.
Okay.
But I mean,
that's fine.
I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah, I'll keep going a little bit.
If you want to
just kind of like fill it out. But yeah,
for championship, of course, championship. IOL, it's not even a question.
That's questionable.
Yeah, maybe for you. But I'm gonna go ahead and say bye. I gotta go meet my parents. But it was fun, Trevor, and I will see you later.
Yep, sounds good. All right, so we're gonna continue, and I'm just gonna go through like the whole entire bracket, which I think there's a lot of like interesting stuff to talk about within the bracket, and just within the teams. I think I'm gonna like take a little deeper dive on things. So I mean the first thing is like let me draw out this bracket really quick. Let me look up how this bracket's laid out, and then I'll lay it out and just kind of go through it because I mean it's pretty interesting. I mean we got some pretty interesting games coming into the playoffs, so it'll be fun. So what? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 more down here. And then 1. And then 1. Bye week, so that is that. And then well, I'm kind of doing this a little bit poorly because I'm not leaving enough room, but pretty much this is what I'm thinking. So here's our little playoff bracket. Kind of rough, but that's all right. So in the first we got STD versus IOL. There's no way you guys can see this, but so I think STD is gonna win this one, and then I think then we already went over this GGG versus IQ, and I think IQ is actually gonna win this one as well. And I think what happens here is winner of. Okay, yeah. So then okay. So yeah, IAG just gets a free win into the second round. So they're just gonna go here, and they should be Group 1, third seed. So yeah, so they're gonna be right here, and they're gonna play. So they're gonna play IOL. So IOL will play. I'm pretty sure. Well, let's see. No, actually, they would play GGG. So yeah, okay. So then now we're on track. All right. So then IAL would play GGG, and then STD. Oh, my bad. And then we said How was gonna win it, and then we said they're gonna play IOL. Okay, so yeah, so I mean the first round on the top bracket, STD and IQ. I mean I think they're all these teams up here are really good, and they all have their strengths. STD kind of plays around their mid or their jungle and top lane, and they have very strong. I mean honestly, I don't know. Our team has really played around a lot of stuff this season, so I don't think we didn't really have one way to win. IOL kind of the same way. Honestly, very similar base team, kind of similar to last season. I felt. Kind of, in a way that, actually that's not true. So yeah, I mean that's kind of like we're pretty similar this season. I would say IOL and us. So it'll be interesting to see what happens because I think we do match up pretty well. We have some contested picks here and there, so that'll be interesting to see. And then GGG versus IQ yet again, really good matchup and. I think that's going to be really good. Both of these games up here are just going to be extremely good, really well fought, good drafts. I think that they're just going to be really fun to watch. So I think those two games will be good. And I think GGG, plays around the mid and jungle, and then IQ plays kind of around. I would just say the top side of the map, kind of mid, jungle, and top. So it'll be interesting to see her there. And then in the second round. So what I think is going to happen, so IOL versus wait, no, that's not right. IIG versus GGG. I think GGG takes it. I think it could be a good series, but I don't know. I think GGG is just going to take it. So then here we get. Right. Okay, so yeah. So here we get, and this is going to sound biased because you already know where this is going, but we got STD up here and IQ down here. So GGG wins this in the second round, and then I think over here on the bottom, on the farther side of the bottom bracket in the second round, I think How versus IOL. We kind of already saw it last night. IOL just is really good against them. They just have a really good matchup. I mean, I think Crow into Bradley is just a hard matchup for Crow, because I mean it's a hard matchup for anyone, but I think it's just especially hard. And I think they just have a kind of an edge on like I don't want to say every lane, but like they just have a very, very, very large edge, I would say, which is unfortunate, but I mean I just think that's how it is. And so then on to the next round, it would be GGG versus IOL, which will be a really, really good matchup as well. Because, they're in the same group. They've already played before. GGG did 1-1. I think the first time, what happened the first time? I can't even remember. Let's see. GGG. So they played. Wait, what did they play? Oh, here we go. So the first time IOL actually 2-0'd them first time. I did not know that. So yeah, IOL 2-0'd them first time. The second time GGG is 1-1. And I think that kind of just proves my point of like, IOL seems to be coming apart a little bit at the end of the season. Both some individual play I've seen is just kind of questionable, but also GGG is just kind of coming together at the same time. So I think GGG is really going to make a good run here. I would love to play against IOL because I know both Alex and Bradley, so it's fun to play against that team. But I don't know. I don't know. This is a tough one to see because at this point, IOL has played a lot of games in the playoffs, 3 games every single week so far. So that's that's their 6 games. So that's a lot more practice and time to come back together. So I think I'm gonna go with IOL, kind of because I want them to win, but also I just think by that time they will have it back together, and I think they'll just be chugging along again. So then IOL goes on, and then this is where the board gets a little bit small. Actually, we'll go back up to the top bracket and see. So now STD versus IQ, another good matchup, but just based off of results, STD has 2 of them twice now in the season. So I think it's gonna go back. It's gonna go over to STD. But I think it'll be a fun series to watch, and yeah, I think this one is, it'll be a good game. Just like I think this is gonna be a really exciting playoff season. So then the second one over here is gonna be, now it's getting confusing because I wrote it in really big. So then this one's gonna be IOL versus, and I think actually what happens here? Okay, yeah. IOL versus IQ, which I think. Let's see, like, what happened here because I'm not actually sure who won this one. IOL. When did they play? IOL. Right here. So IOL actually 2 of them when they played them. So that'll be interesting to see. And this can all change, based on who wins the first round. So it's hard to like really predict because especially when this one on here right here, the GG versus IQ is going to be such a close match. It's really hard to predict. It really is. But I think if IQ does get this far, I think IOL is just going to win it because I don't know. IOL just will be a really strong team at this point, and I think they yet again some teams just play really well into another team, and that's kind of just my personal opinion, but also what the stats show. So some matches are just better. If let's say for example you have a really strong top laner, and then if they have a really weak top laner, it's going to be a pretty large advantage. And you can take that advantage and push it down all the way to the bottom of the map. So it's pretty easy to push your advantage and then just get a win just off of the one lane huge skill gap. But then the finals, we have IOL or STD and IOL which I think it's interesting how they're doing it this season. I don't know if everyone knows this, but the winner of the top bracket, so they have double elimination for them because if they lose, they go back down and they get another chance. But if the winner of the winners bracket gets a extra game on a series of 5, which I think is pretty big, it really gives you room to make them. If you do make a mistake and you end up not winning a game, I think it gives you a lot of leniency to have room, try out, really just kind of get a feel of everything because all you got to do is win 50% of the games, which is like not too much to ask for, So I think that's going to really help. And it's just going to make it really tough because, if you think about it, team who has the 1 game advantage in the finals, they win once. Then the next 3 games have to go to the other person, and that's tough to do. Win 3 games in a row, especially after you lose a game, till it does get to everyone. For all League of Legends players, so it affects everyone. Some teams more than others. I know my team dealt with it a lot last season. I know AR's team dealt with it a lot this season. So it can get to people. It's pretty. It's kind of expected. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there because that's a really hard thing to come back to. So I think in the finals it really is a big time. It's a big deal to win the first game if you're coming from the losers bracket, because I think that really will decide. I just don't know. I don't see a team winning 3 in a row. Like they got to be built, and to have like 3 different. It's gonna be interesting to see like what happens in the finals. Like will we have like 5 similar drafts every time, or like will people switch it up? I don't know. But I think something that also is kind of going people's ways is like if you've played for multiple seasons with each other. Which not everyone has. Like pretty much GGG is the same and STD is the same. But like, composed are the same. So like, I think with that in mind, it just helps a lot because you have a lot of different options. You've spent 2 seasons together, so you have a lot of like, pocket picks and stuff like, hidden picks and stuff like that. That you can just pull out and a lot of different comps that you can, you have at your access. So yeah, I think it's gonna be close, and I know it's funny to like say that we're gonna win, but I think I don't know. I think we are, but I think honestly it can go any way. So this would be my final prediction. I think a lot of these games could be different. Clearly the finals could be. A lot of these games can go any way. Hey, if someone has a bad day, that's it. That's Dana has a bad day, or like Bradley has a bad day, or who knows? Like Trooper has a bad day. That could be it. That's like the fun of playoffs. So you got to come prepared and try to do your scouting ahead, so it gives you a little bit of advantage. But yeah, so I think this game especially, both of these games go either way, to be honest. Both teams are really good. How, I'm pretty sure, has it in the bag against TTM. Pretty confident about that one. Second round, I'm pretty sure whoever IIG's plays, they're a good team, but I don't think they're good enough. I don't know. I think IIG is just going to get, I think they're going to get knocked out in the second round. But I think they had a great season, and if they do play next season, I think they have a really strong second season showing. But I just think there's a lot of teams that are built up and that are just it's gonna be a tough time for them. And then how against IOL, kind of history shows what that's gonna look like. I would say they just match up really well against them. So I think that's kind of gonna be what's gonna happen there. IOL is gonna take that one. And then this game, there's so many good games this offseason. These playoffs. There is a lot of good games and a lot of like rematches potentially with how the bracket is set up this time. So it's gonna be interesting to see we played them the first round of playoffs. Now we're playing them like semifinals or whatever. It's gonna be interesting to see like what happens, or the finals of the losers bracket, and then But yeah, I think like the big things to think about are like finals. Whoever's the winner of the winner bracket, big advantage, especially if you win the first game. Good luck, But yeah, I think I kind of covered it all. TTM, just kind of go like through it over again just one more time. TTM kind of needs to find their identity before playoffs, I would say. They have strong individual players, but they haven't really like found their like way of, okay, like this is how we get wins, this is how we're going to do this. So maybe even, I think the bye would hurt them even more though. I think that they have a chance to push into the next, the playoffs. I think they don't want the bye because more time playing is better, Personally, I didn't want the bye because I know my team doesn't play at all in practice. So like 2 weeks off is like that's a long time. So I was happy that they gave the bye, or the bye that was going to the other group. But yeah, I mean I would say like kind of that TTM could anything can happen. There's always Cinderella stories, so any team could win, and that's like the fun of it. Any team could just like boom figure out this OP comp, especially with like the meta changing. So that'll be interesting. Also, I think something interesting is this kind of off topic, but Vex is coming out, and I think it'll be interesting to see if anyone pulls it out. I mean, it won't be in the first round of the playoffs because of patch, but I think it should be in the second round of the playoffs, and that's a lot of games, So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. If anyone will pull it out, or if no one feels confident about it. But I mean, and while I keep going through this, I mean, what do you guys think? Anyone think anything different? And what do you guys think? And then how I kind of already talked about it. I think they're done a little bit more than they were in the at the beginning of the season. They had the roster thing, but now I think they're kind of on track. They just they got to figure out a little bit more. But I think they do have a long road to cover. That's they have a tough route to the finals. They have to not only win the first round, and they have to go against the second round against probably a really good team, and then if they do, they have to go against another. I mean, it's really tough. Trevor better hope that they beat IOL in the first series. Oh shoot, got some. We foraged y'all. You did for us. I'm not gonna say anything about it. We did troll the second time, which is completely fine. But you guys did. You guys got the best of us in the first one, which I can't even remember like what even happened there. Yeah, it was just I don't know. Was it? When did we guys play? Oh, it was like week 5. Yeah, I can't even remember what happened. But I mean, yeah, I think your guys' team's pretty strong, Dragula. But I think you guys just have a really tough route to the playoffs or to the to the finals. So, but I mean, hey, I hope the best. I hope the best for all these teams. I want to see the best games that are possible. But yeah, that's what I was saying, Dragula. I think you guys are like definitely picking it up now. And I think you guys have kind of found an identity. So I think if you guys just keep playing through it, I think you guys have a chance. Honestly, it's just gonna be you're gonna have a lot of tough games. You're gonna have a lot of tough games, but as will everyone. Starting in the lower bracket kind of sucks because you do have to play like all these teams and you have to play more games. But then IIG kind of talked about them. I think they're a really strong team. If they play again, I think they're going to be really strong next season. But have really strong components. I like the junglers pool. Interesting pool in the mid lane by Kiksa. And just they have a lot of good components. Crimson, always good in the top lane, good shot caller. I don't know if he's doing the shot calling, but he seems pretty intelligent game based wise. Yeah, I gotta beat the best teams to win anyways. Yeah, it's true. It is true. So you guys have your work cut out for you, that's for sure. And then on the top side of the bracket, GG playing around mid jungle, using that flex to their advantage, which is just ridiculous. It murders people. And it's hard. Scout. That's like something that IQ is gonna have struggles with is scouting against them in the first round. What do you ban? You gonna ban the Zed? Oh wait, Trooper doesn't even play mid. What? Like, why are you banning the Zed? It's just crazy. To see like what teams will do against, and some teams are really hard to ban against because they just have so many things you want to ban. But that team, especially with the flexing, is just so hard to scout against them. So I do hope they use it in the playoffs because that's a strong thing that they do have, and it's kind of like only them. I don't really see anyone flex besides that team. Maybe sometimes here and there, but other than that, they're really the only team that does it. So that's kind of like their unique edge. And then IQ, again, is just centered around the top lane. I would, the top side of the map, top lane, jungle, and mid. And I kind of would like to see Reheap bring out that more carry role if they do need it at some point in the playoffs. Because they have 2 chances at least. So there's going to be some games that or some times that aren't looking too hot. So I think that could be an interesting take. Were you planning on doing a tier list like you did last year, like on champions or like you're saying like power rankings? I can actually do that just like right now if we want. Yeah, I'll do it. Right after this. And then IQ is I think they just play around the top side of the map. which I think is kind of unique. A lot of teams decide to play against around the bot side of the map, which is completely fine. I mean, dragons are there, a lot of stuff is there. But yeah, I think that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But I really do want to see a more carry role coming out for Raheem because I think he's a really good player. So he's definitely taken a different role this season, the utility role, and kind of just like he does like he's always like mages and like late game carries. But I think it'd be interesting to see what happens there. So maybe later rounds, third game in the first round, they bring out something new and oh shoot, GG's kind of surprised, caught off guard. So I think that's gonna be fun. And then very top of it, STD versus IOL. IOL, really good team. I mean, just very balanced team. Just a really, really like all around. Everyone knows what they're doing, what their role is. Everyone just like they do what they want. They do what they came for, and they do it good. Like JJW knows his role. Dana knows his role. Bradley knows his role. Alex knows his role. And Etcham knows his role. Everyone does. But they, kind of the opposite of GGG and how they've kind of like ungelled that a little bit, just a little bit, coming into the playoffs. So it'll be interesting how they adjust, especially going against a really good team in the first round. It's going to be a quick, you got a quick turnaround to adjust, and then finally SCD, and also something by IOL. They do really good at Rift Herald. So good job on Latradis and just the lanes, top side of the map by allowing her to do it. So that's something that I feel like that's kind of like their unique thing. And also just like Yone is kind of their unique thing because no one plays Yone in the league except for Bradley pretty much. And just kind of they have a cool champ pool, I would say. And then How or SCD is I think another really strong team, and I think I think they have a really well balanced team as well, especially what's been happening recently with their bot lane kind of exceeding expectations. So I think it makes them really hard to beat. I mean, to be honest, I think they're pretty strong going into the playoffs. But I'm gonna do a power ranking really quick, and then I'll probably end the stream. And my power ranking will be based on what I kind of just went over. So I kind of went over the reasons, but yeah, so I think it'll be a really, really intense playoffs just all throughout. I can't wait. I'm gonna try to cast as much games as I can. So I can't wait to do that and kind of like hype everyone up over it because it's pretty hype. I think last year it was kind of less hype because it was kind of like, okay, like AR's like really good. It was kind of like, we kind of know who has the edge on everyone. But this year it's kind of, it could be anyone, and there could be a Cinderella story like, IIG or How getting like really far in the playoffs or even winning the whole thing. So I think that it's kind of cool that there's a lot of opportunities here. So we have 8 teams, well 7, but we'll do 8 anyways. So, our power rankings. I felt like last year any of the top 7 teams could win, to be honest. Wow, okay. So, Eshram kind of thinks the exact opposite. Last year, anyone could win. That's an interesting take. I think maybe... to me, it was just like... SCD, or, SPO and AR were kind of just above everyone. Ian, I was one of the other teams, so... And I don't know. I was confident, as always. As you should be in your team going into the playoffs. But I definitely thought AR had the edge. Their bot lane was just so good. And Cody, sad that we lost this team because they had so many good players and so many, unique things happening for them. But I think Cody was just so good. I think there was a more clear top 4, but I think that mid-tier definitely could pull it out. Yeah, I agree. But I think it's even more balanced this year. I think it's just it's going to be exciting. The top 4 are really good this year, and they're all, like, very close. And then even, like, the bottom, I think it's kind of like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think, like, there's, like, I don't know. I think, honestly, anyone can contend. I would say TTM is kind of, like, the one I'm a little bit questionable about, but, I would love to see them pull out a little victory in the first round. That'd be cool. But yeah, so power rankings wise, AR clearly is going to be last. However, I think coming into the playoffs, they definitely weren't last. Experience helps them, and skill, just individual skill helps them, and kind of like they did have Cody and like Kirbyus doing making the shot calls, so that really helps. I mean, if you have a strong shot caller, anything's possible, to be honest, because you just can pull out some crazy stuff. So I think that really helped. That really helps teams, and I think that especially helped AAR. So then the second one is going to be TTM for me. As I said, just not really an identity to me that they have right now. And then the sixth, it starts to get tough here. Based on who's who. I kind of actually want to see who won. So How against IIG, not sure who won. So let me see. Let's see, what week is that? So it was a 2-0 in actually IIG's favor. And that's going to be week 4. Yeah, they 2-0'd them. So, I mean, that's tough because, it's tough to rate a team like How because, they did have the role swap. So I'm pretty sure week 4 is like maybe even the first week that they roll, they did all their stuff. Not much. But yeah, so, I mean, that's tough to say like, oh, IIG is clearly better. They 2-0'd, but it's like, a lot has changed and a lot of growth, and that's why it's so cool to have this like long season because so much growth goes in like to the teams. It's crazy, or like just individual players like Aloe from GGG, crazy like how much better he's became. But yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. Or just see like bot lane, like the bot lane duo, like kind of like start to synergize later on in the season and start to come up with their own strats and just like or just like even in comms like them communicating. At the beginning of the season you got 2 new guys down there and they're just like not like shy, but like they just don't have that like way of communicating. By the end of the season they're like let's get down to business. So yeah, I mean I think that's kind of, it'll be interesting to see, but I think IIG or How? Who has it? This is tough. I mean, the rest of the power rankings is going to be tough. But I think I'm going to have to go with, I mean, really, all these are like coin flip, I feel, even. Like, but I think IIG, I'm going to put ahead of How. So How's going to go 6th. But, and this isn't any disrespect for any teams that I'm putting on this. But someone's got to be 6th and someone's got to be last and someone's got to be 1st, just like, but I think, kind of as Etram was saying about last season, I think even more present this season, anyone can win. Really. And I really do think that, so it'll be interesting. How and IIG feel like they play similar, team fight, death ball styles. If either find their early fights and secure an early gold lead, they're super scary to fight. Yeah, I mean, I agree they do. And, it's kind of the thing that IOL has is like a very unique mid lane champion pool, and even jungle. Like, I mean, CHP is like very similar to me in his pool, but he definitely has some unique ones in there as well. But also, I think it's an interesting time to start the playoffs, or for the playoffs to be starting because just like the patch changes recently. So there's a lot of like new picks coming to the meta, like Amumu. I mean, I'll just put this out there for everyone. If you're not picking Amumu first pick, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you can play that champion any role, mid lane, anything, and like Tryndamere mid is something now, and it's like it's gonna be interesting. I think there's gonna be a lot of weird picks this playoffs, but yeah, I mean, I think there's just like a lot of weird things coming back in the meta, so I think that'll be interesting to see. And then the next one is IIG. It's gonna be 5th on my list. Really good team. I mean, they do have those unique picks, as I said. And, kind of as Etram said, both of these teams like to play around the team fight, especially How. I think they're really team fight oriented with, like, the utility that Crow brings mid lane, plus, like, the team fight-esque champions that Dragula likes to play top lane. Really, and, like, the Chanters, Crimson likes to play bot lane. So I think it's really, really team fight oriented for How. And I still think it is for IIG, but not as much because they have, like, picks like, York in the top lane with Crimson, and, he likes to, do whatever. I've let the Ziggs support fall off the radar just in time for playoffs, except for now. Yeah, I mean, Ziggs is another good pick. I mean, can really go anywhere. I mean, like, you like to play him support, but he can also go ADC, which he's still strong at ADC, but it's not as strong as you saw last patch. And then also, like, mid lane, never fails with Ziggs. So that'll be an interesting pick as well. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting run for both IAG and How. I think they're kind of those Cinderella stories that could happen. They could make it to the finals. I don't know. Like it could be. Only one of them can make it because they're both on the bottom side of the bracket. But it'll be interesting. And then the fourth one, I think IQ is going to take 4 for me. And there's not like really like any like this is why they're weaker. But just based on performance, they've kind of like what I think. Let me just make sure before I speak this into existence, but I think IQ. So I think for IQ, they've gotten a lot of their wins off of like I don't want to say weaker teams, but like teams that are like just in a bad position. So like AAR, they got a 2-0 off of when they're like subbing out. How they got 2 2-0s off of when they were doing their like role swaps and kind of getting adjusted to the new team. So I think they've gotten like a lot of like not toss ups, but they have had a really nice schedule this season. So it doesn't take away from anything they've done, but I think it's going to be tougher for them to match up against some of these teams on the top 3. Especially going to these playoffs. But I think anything can happen. They have really good, strong players. Bone Garud is like one of my favorite players in the league right now. Plays really aggressive, plays cool champions, really diverse, kind of a new age top laner for the league, especially based on how last season was in the top lane meta. He's really opened it up. Honestly, I think like a lot of people have opened it up, but especially Bone Garud, and then Zesty playing out of his freaking mind this season. Just going everywhere, just doing everything. Really, probably like one of like the most like I don't even know like if there's a reward for it, but like most surprise. Not that sounds like insulting almost, but like I don't know. It's like not like most improved, but also like maybe like the best player to switch roles. Maybe that's what I would give him because he's played really well on throughout the whole season. He's very consistent. So yeah, he's done really good, and then Rihi clearly is just like killing it, like as always. But I think that I don't know. I think that he can play more carry roles, and he can they can put more resources into him, even more than they are. So I think that'll be interesting. And then their bot lane, Gentle Criminal and Super Noob, also pretty good, pretty strong. And they've not overperformed, but done better than I thought they would. So good for them. And then, but yeah, I think, yet again, I'm going to say it a lot, and especially in these top 4 teams, but if they have a really balanced team. So it'll be interesting to see what they can pull out in the playoffs. And I think the first round is really important to them, so they can get an easier road to the playoffs or to the finals. So I think if they do pull out the first round win, I think they have a better chance of making it to the finals than the longer road going through the bottom side of the bracket. But I hope the best. I love I talk to Rihi a lot, and I do it with them. So good luck to you guys. And then the third is this is where it gets really tough. Ooh, GGG, STD, and IOL is left. It's tough to say. Especially with, GGG, I don't know. GGG just seems so strong right now. They just seem like they've got it. But, this is power rankings going into the playoffs. This isn't who's going to win the playoffs. I've already done that earlier in the stream. But this is power rankings going into the playoffs. So I think actually, I'm going to go with IOL here at the 3rd spot. Extremely strong team, clearly. Kind of centralized around the mid lane, and also and also the bot lane. But just another balanced team. I'm going to keep saying it because it's just so true. Everyone does their role, as I said earlier in the stream. No one really sometimes, just like everyone in every team, some people have bad games, but overall, very consistent team. A bunch of bandable things. You get the Nico in the top lane, the Set in the top lane, the Kazakhstan in the jungle, the Rek'Sai. Dana's really been spamming those 2 champions especially. And then you got, freaking 18,000 champions in the mid lane with really bad Zed. So it's like, oh, do you ban the Yo? Do you ban the Zed? Do you ban freaking, I don't even know, that he's played the Syndra really well. He's just playing, feels like everything really well. He has a back pocket pick of Yasuo that can come out, and I think it might come out in the playoffs. Who knows? And then bot lane you got freaking a really solid bot lane as well with Impex and Etrum, and they did pull out their Mumu MF combo, which is Mumu's definitely a bannable offense. MF a good champion as well, but maybe not bannable. Just like champion wise. But yeah, I mean that's a really strong combo, and I mean Leona did get a nerf, so maybe not bannable at this moment, but there's just a lot of bannable things on this team, so it's definitely hard to scout against them. I mean I'm doing it right now, so like it's definitely hard. I think Sloth Apocalypse. Alex says whoa toxic. Not sure what was toxic, but I'm sure some of these. I mean it's hard to like power rank like live, especially because it's like. Someone's got to be last and someone's got to be first. I mean, that's just how it is. And then Etcham says, I think this is a stylistic triangle, to be honest. What do you mean by that? Best role swapped player? Well, that's actually true. I didn't even think about you, Alex, being role swapped. Yeah, you've played really well. I mean, extremely well. I don't know. IOL is greater than STD. STD is greater than GGG, and GGG is greater than IOL. Yeah, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I mean, according to the stats, that is how it is, or how it seems to be. But you do have to take in consideration that IOL did play STD 10 weeks ago, so it's been a long time, and a lot of practice has been. Added on, and also, I mean, GGG and SCD just played, or GGG and IOL just played, so that's kind of like fresh. But yeah, I mean, GGG's 1-1 both IOL and SCD, so I mean, all three match up extremely well. So it's gonna be interesting. And I actually think I'm gonna put SCD number 2. So I'm not gonna put my own team number 1. That means this is not biased. That's what that means. We are 3-1 against GGG though. Yeah, you guys did 2 of them in the first time you guys played them. So that is something. But I think it's more. The emphasis is more on later in the season. I think just because that's like where the teams are right now. So I mean the 2-0 definitely does mean something, but it doesn't mean as much. We threw to GGG so we could play against you guys in the first. Hey, that's completely fine with me. I hope I play you guys multiple times in this playoffs. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, I mean, so I'm going to put SCD second. And I would put them first, but now that they have the sub for the rest of the season, or I guess the rest of the season, our support is like on a business trip or like, I don't even know. I guess it's either personal or business. It's either vacation or a business trip. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest. But yeah, so since he's not going to be here, we're bringing White Heels, which will return. Welcome back White Heels to the league because this is actually exactly what happened last season. So it's kind of funny. The timing, but hopefully our support won't miss the whole entire postseason. But as of right now, he will. So we're actually throwing in White Heels, which will be an interesting switch. I mean, I think we were really on a roll, and I think I would have put us first if we didn't switch because I think we were doing extremely well. But now that we've switched, we have a lot of stuff to figure out, and not a lot of time to figure it out. So that'll be interesting to see what I can and we can come up with, before the playoffs start. We have 1 week, but this week doesn't really mean anything. So I'm not. It'll be tough to figure out anything this week. But so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that affects. But I mean, this team, Winnie has been the best top laner in the league. Winnie's, I mean, he is. If you're talking about unique champion roles or champion pool. Winnie the Z has it. I mean, the guy plays like the weirdest things. I mean, I think he's locked in like Master Yi like 3 or 4 times this season, and he's locked in Quinn. He's locked in Malzahar top. He's locked in a lot of weird stuff, which is fun. We play for fun, so we like to hey, pick whatever you want. But I think something that we have that is pretty valuable, and kind of what GGG also has is the experience, the 2-season experience, because we kept 4 of the 5 same players, just like actually GGG kept 3 of the 5 players, but we kept kind of the core together. So I think that's something GGG also has. So we have a lot of options when it comes to like like what we want to play team comp wise, and we just also like pick wise. We just have a lot of like interesting picks that I think we can throw out there. So if we do get in trouble, I think it'll help us with the experience we have together and what we know we can play. So I think STD really strong. I mean, they're puff buffer. Shout out to my brother Blake because he's been killing it in the ADC role. He's been kind of popping off. I mean, you know, if you haven't watched the games recently, you got to go back and watch those games because he has been killing it, especially the IQ series when we towed them to secure first place. Really, really impressive. And then, you know, our mid laner, kind of feast or famine, I'm going to be honest. Kind of like similar to Bone Garud. He's either going to carry or feed. And, you know, he knows that too. So we joke around. And, but yeah, it's kind of similar play style to Bone Garud. And then I would say I'm a pretty consistent jungler. And I match up pretty well against people. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. I think we're a pretty hard team to ban out too. I mean, I think it's centralized around like jungle and maybe I don't know. I think it's like centralized jungle. It's tough though because like there's a lot of things that you can ban. I mean, maybe that you don't think it's bannable, but when, you know, once you see it in the playoffs, could be bannable. So I think especially later in the playoffs, it's gonna be hard to ban out us. And then the final one. The number one team, not my team, but GGG is going to go number one. And I kind of, you know, coming into the season, not really the reason that you would think they'd go number one. You'd think, you know, Vermilion and Reese kind of like just carry them and like, you know, they become this really extremely strong bot lane, kind of mimicking what Bidoof and Kirbyus were last season. But actually, it's on the middle side of the map. It's Trooper and Scoobs. The whole entire season, they have been playing outstandingly. I mean, by far and away the best mid-jungle duo. Not a question. Kind of similar, gives me like, saying like Impact's Really Bad Zed vibes from last season. Just a really strong. And then they've been using the flex like no other. So, I mean, that's extremely strong to deal with as well. So, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with this. I mean, they're really, really strong. So, I did actually predict them to lose in the first round. So, it's funny I'm putting them first. But I don't know. I think it could be an upset in the first round when they face IQ. But they were an extremely strong team. So, even if they do lose in the first round, I think they're going to come back with a vengeance later on. But I think they're going to make it far in this playoff bracket. So, yeah, I mean, they just have a lot of strong. Aloe is probably the most improved player in the whole entire league this season. I mean, Trooper and Scoobs, you don't even have to say anything because it's just, they speak for themselves. I mean, the swapping thing is crazy. They got some interesting champ pools as well. Vigar mid, Shaco jungle, you know, things you don't usually see. So, yeah, a lot of potential drafting-wise. So, I mean, they're probably the hardest team to scout against because of the little lane swap thing they do. So, it's going to be tough. I mean, they're going to be tough to beat for sure. And you know, you can beat them once, but can you win a best of 3 or the best of 5 against them? You know, it's going to be tough. It really is. And you know, in the bot lane, they got Reese and Vermilion. So if they start to turn it on even, you know, more than they have recently, I mean, their team's going to be something to be stopped because that's going to be scary. I mean, Reese is, as I said, probably one of the best ADCs in the league. So it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough to beat them. So, I mean, I wish everyone good luck. And, you know, if you did watch, thanks. Bradley was here for, like, the first half of this. But he did leave. But, yeah, so, I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, we kind of covered all the grounds. And it's going to be exciting to watch. This postseason is going to be really intense. A lot of really good series. So, if also kind of a shout out to everyone, if you want to cast, this is a great time to do it. Because, I mean, this is going to be an intense post-game series. I mean, or postseason run for everyone. So, yeah, I mean, I think it'll be exciting games. So, it's pretty easy to cast. So, you know, everyone get out there and cast a game or two. You know, it's super fun to do, too. So, yeah, I mean, this is kind of the final standings here. Let's see if I can get it into. Yeah, you can read it like that. So you got AAR number 8. They dropped out, but you know, sad to see the reigning champs fall right off. You know, get out of the playoffs right as they start. You got TTM 7, How number 6, IIG number 5, IQ number 4, number 3 IOL, number 2 STD, and number 1 ranked team going into the playoffs is GGG. They're on a roll, and it doesn't look like they're going to stop. Someone's going to have to, step in front of them and stop their momentum. The best of threes a week for a while. Wait, the best of threes a week for a while too. So we need casters. Oh yeah. Yeah, it is a lot. Yeah, we're gonna need some casters for sure. But yeah, so thanks for watching, and I will see you probably the first round when I cast a game. But I wish everyone luck, and yet again, I had to rate everyone somewhere. So it was no offense to anyone, and I think all the teams are great, so it's gonna be fun. I'm really excited to watch it. And I'll definitely be watching all the games, and I hope everyone does because it's fun to get into it. I mean, I've been watching all the games the whole season, both this season and last season, and it's really fun. You start to a guy like Bone Magrude, you may not even know because he's a new player, but he's fun to watch. He's really, really fun to watch. So yeah, I mean, that's gonna be it from here. So thank you for listening, and yeah, I mean, I hope everyone luck in the playoffs, and my last words is Iowa's gonna get 2-0'd. Iowa's gonna get 2-0'd. Have a good